In the sleepy town of Sussville, there lived a dog named Max. Max was no ordinary dog. Sure, he looked normal, fluffy, wagging tail, big puppy eyes, but Max had a reputation, a seriously wild reputation. Max had an issue that no one could ignore. He nutted all day long. You see, Max wasn't like other dogs that chased sticks or begged for treats. Nope. Max had one thing on his mind 24/7, and that was finding anything and everything he could get busy with. It didn't matter if it was a pillow, a leg, or even an innocent-looking tree. If Max could rub up on it, you knew things were about to go down. It started innocently enough. When he was a puppy, Max had a normal dog life, chasing squirrels and wagging his tail like any good boy. But as soon as he hit dog puberty, or whatever you call it, things got intense. He couldn't walk past a cushion without eyeing it up, his little dog brain pulsing with one single thought: time to nut. Max had an insatiable need to go at it, and once he started, there was no stopping him. The neighbors would laugh awkwardly when they saw Max going to town in the front yard on some random piece of garden furniture. But eventually, it became impossible to ignore. Mrs. Jenkins, the elderly woman across the street, was the first to sound the alarm. One morning, she looked out her window and saw Max working on her prized flower bed, his little body shuddering as he finished off with a satisfied yelp. "He's at it again!" she'd muttered to herself, shaking her head. It wasn't long before Max became known as Nutty Max around the neighborhood. People tried to avoid him, knowing that if you stood still for too long, you'd become his next target. But Max didn't care. In fact, it seemed like he was proud of his achievements, strutting around town with his head held high, tongue hanging out, ready for the next round. One hot afternoon, Max wandered into the park, his eyes gleaming as he spotted a group of kids tossing a football. Max's brain immediately went into overdrive. Before anyone could stop him, Max made a beeline for the football, humping it with the kind of enthusiasm you'd only expect from a dog who had serious energy to burn. The kids stood frozen, jaws dropped, as Max nutted with such intensity that the ball deflated under the pressure. "Not again, Max!" one of the parents shouted, rushing over with a look of horror. But Max didn't care. He was living his best life, one nut at a time. At night, when the town finally fell silent, Max would retreat back to his dog bed, exhausted from his long day of activities. He'd lay there, panting softly with a satisfied look on his face like he had conquered the world, or at least everything in his immediate vicinity. And even though the neighbors constantly complained, and the local vet suggested getting him fixed for the millionth time, Max was just doing what he did best. Max didn't care what anyone thought. Max was born to nut.